Well, it's another inconsistent stretch of videos. I have been off for like 2 to 3 weeks now, but it's alright. I'm back again, that's all that matters. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all of you whenever you're watching this video. Let's talk about Vinland Saga Season 2 because I'm so excited for this new anime. So, Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga is an outstanding Viking anime that released in July of 2019, and it has quickly become one of the most popular airing anime at its time and right now. It gained mass popularity despite only being aired on Amazon Prime for its first season. Even though it wasn't streamed on one of the biggest platforms, Crunchyroll, it still gained an insane amount of popularity. The story honestly brought a new approach to anime, as this is kind of the first time we really got a good seinen historical adaptation. Kingdom was absolutely terrible. Berserk, we obviously know what happened there. But when it came to Vinland Saga, we got a really good adaptation from a really good studio, with every variable that an anime needs being done very well. The first season of the anime was spectacular. It received a lot of new fans, and it's safe to say that the conclusion of the first season, the finale, episode 24, was where the series really got to its peak, and it's where one of the greatest twists in the whole story took place. Well, now Vinland Saga is going to be coming back for its second season, and this is going to be a very different season. This is going to be something that almost seems like a different show when compared to the first season, and we're not very far from the second season's release. In fact, it's going to be coming out January the 9th of next year, meaning that as soon as you get off your Christmas break, Vinland Saga is going to be the first new airing anime of 2023, and it is definitely going to be coming in with a lot of hype and a lot of build up, and I guarantee you will not regret watching it. What made the first season of Vinland Saga such an enjoyable watch was the originality of the genre, the suspenseful revenge story, the exhilarating fights, and the breathtaking music. All of these things came together to form such a brilliant anime. The music in Vinland Saga is without a doubt some of my favorite music in anime. It's not something over the top, epic battle music like Attack on Titan may have at some points, like Chainsaw Man is starting to have at some points, though I really do love that genre of music, the type that Vinland Saga makes use of, the emotional, slow, calming piano that it does use very frequently, along with that battle music I just mentioned at certain times. I'm not going to get too deep into the music, but when we're talking music, Vinland Saga truly is one of the GOATs, and it has been remembered for the way it makes use of its music and the way it brings out the emotion in you. It also does have a lot of incredible fights. I will say that the fights really do only last for the first season. There are obviously going to be fights in a Viking story in the later seasons whenever they come out, but the biggest, most violent part of the story was definitely season 1, and we are now past that. The first season was really just a revenge story. It was really just revolving around Thorfinn getting revenge over Askeladd for killing Thors, but that's kind of why they call this first season the prologue. Once we get into the second arc, the third arc, it's where Thorfinn's story really begins to shape up, and it's where new characters get introduced. New motivations and new goals for these characters are introduced, and the whole purpose of the story shifts back to what it was originally supposed to be, of finding Vinland, finding a country of peace. I will say the first few episodes of the season 1 anime did take some time to pick up, because we began with younger Thorfinn for about the first 4 episodes, but eventually it did pick up and Thorfinn began to grow older, and we kind of got a time skip over there. Once that time skip happened, things just went completely off. Pacing was great, everything was great, and it was episode after episode of pure greatness. We also got introduced to another very important character in Canute, who has his own really great development in the manga, though I would like to see some more of him, even in the manga at this point, to be quite honest with you. But nevertheless, Thorfinn and Canute now set the stage for the further seasons, and I cannot wait to see how these two characters develop and grow, especially through a different lens in the anime. Thorfinn and Askeladd's contrasting progressions were subtle masterpieces that shaped the core of this character-driven story. Without question, I can say that Thorfinn and Askeladd had a phenomenal relationship, even though They were trying to kill each other at times. In fact, the whole purpose of the story was Thorfinn killing Askeladd. But nevertheless, I think their differences, as I mentioned, and contrasting these differences together was just done in such a beautiful way. As we saw Thorfinn sink deeper and deeper into revenge, we saw Askeladd sort of feeling more for the people he's hated his whole life. I don't want to get too deep into that in case some of you somehow haven't seen the first season of Vinland Saga, but it's safe to say the two had incredible contrasting relationships. Obviously, Askeladd, in my opinion, and from what I've heard and many people's opinions, was the star of the season, but Thorfinn was definitely not far behind. I've heard some criticism that he gets kind of repetitive, he's just drunk on revenge. That was kind of his whole character in the first season. I can't wait to see the look on people's face when they see him in this second season, because my goodness, Thorfinn's character goes through the roof in this season, and I cannot wait to see it animated. As I briefly mentioned before, the main purpose of Vinland Saga's story was to introduce a land of peace known as Vinland in this horrifying era of war, the Viking era, and seeing the development and growth of this character who was born into the violence of the world. That's kind of the main premise of this second season. Having read the manga, I can definitely say that the second season and the first have many differences, but I think that is for the better. Again, the first season was a prologue. The second season is where the real journey begins. Some people might not enjoy this type of storytelling as much as other people. Some people might enjoy it more than they enjoyed the first season. Without a doubt, I can say that if you're willing to open your eyes to a different style of anime, Vinland Saga Season 2 will be one of the greatest things you've ever watched in your life. When you think about the fact that this first season was just a build-up for these later seasons, it was just a prologue and an introduction to the characters we have now, the build-up just gets better and better. All of these fights and reveals and these characters were just setups for what happens later. Vinland Saga is a very original story in that way. This second season also focuses more on Thorfinn's growth. As I already mentioned, now that Askeladd has been taken out of the story, we really get to go deeper into Thorfinn's mind, and this is why people regard Thorfinn as one of the greatest protagonists, especially the people who have read the manga. We know how great of a character Thorfinn is, and it's not really because of the first season. It's more so because of the seasons that come after it. No longer do these fights dictate the future of the characters. No longer is this story basically revolving around fights and killing. It doesn't really have a hostile Thorfinn battling a menacing Thorkel, but is that really a bad thing? Is that something we should be disappointed by? Obviously not. Just the opposite. This story now focuses on growth, learning, and development. It is a beautiful story. It teaches you many lessons that normal anime don't typically teach. That's why I think Vinland Saga only gets better as this story progresses. It only gets better from season 1 to season 2 and to season 3 later on, whenever we get that. I just think this season will cement Vinland Saga as one of the great masterpieces in the anime world, and without a doubt, Thorfinn will stand at the top of anime protagonists for a good long time, especially with this new arc. This is why I think Vinland Saga Season 2 will be something you never forget. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the new Vinland Saga season, what you are expecting, what you want to see, and let me know, do you think it will be something that will change anime forever? Winter 2022 has already been insane, and I cannot wait for the new season and the new year of anime in 2023.